Welcome back to Mobility Insider. I'm Morten Hannesbo. Today we have another Mobility Insider special. Today we're going to talk about this car. This is my very own Porsche 911 GT2 RS from year 2018. A Porsche 911 is always something special, but then of course you have the 911 Turbo. The 911 Turbo was first presented at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 1973, and that was very quickly then the über-Porsche of that time. And it was back then the fastest production car made in Germany. The über-Porsche was a position that the 930 kept until 1993, when the first GT2 based on the Porsche 911 993 series was brought to the market. The GT2 story was continued in 2001 when Porsche launched the GT2 based on the 996 version, and that kept the position for 6 years. In 2007, Porsche brought the third generation GT2 to the market based on the 997 series. This is the fourth generation GT2 called the RS. That was presented in 2017 at Goodwood, and deliveries started very shortly after to the marketplace. What is a GT2? Well, you take a Porsche 911 Turbo that has four-wheel drive since the second generation. You take the four-wheel drive away and you have a rear-wheel drive car. That makes the car lighter. And then all over the car you change the components to the lightest and the best components. And what you get is a race-ready 911. A GT3 or a GT3 RS, they are made for everyday driving, albeit a very sporty drive. The GT2 RS are made for the racetrack. This car has much more horsepower and it is also lighter than the other cars. If you compare it to the 911 Turbo, the 911 Turbo is for everyday usage. It has four-wheel drive, it has sound insulation, it's very easy to live with. This one is not. This is the fastest 911 of that range, and that is what you should take to the racetrack. So, and why did I buy the GT2 RS? Well, for me, this is the pinnacle of what Porsche 911 is. And I did not want a Porsche 911 Turbo, that's an everyday car. I wanted something special. This is the car in my garage that I use the least, but it's still the car that I like the most. I don't use it very often, but on a great day like today, it is fantastic. I bought the GT2 RS in 2018 because for me, this is the pinnacle Porsche 911. And I wanted something special. I've had a number of 911s, so I said now I want the ultimate 911, and for me, that's the GT2 RS. I also own another 911 from 1970, the 911T, and that is for, cruising and for relaxed driving. This is the one that you can take to the racetrack, and this is the very special 911 and the fastest still you can get. So when I say fast, what does that mean? In 2018, Porsche took the GT2 RS to the Nürburgring, and they set the fastest time ever for a production car. In 2021, they took the same car, had it tuned by Manthey Racing, and they cut another 4.7 seconds off that record to 6 minutes and 43 seconds. The 3.8 litre flat boxer engine delivers 700 horsepower and 750 Newton meters of torque. The top speed is 340 kilometers per hour, and 0 to 100 takes just 2.8 seconds. 0 to 200 will take you 8.3 seconds, and 0 to 300 will take you just 22.1 seconds. When I specified the car, I definitely wanted the Miami blue color. I also added Miami blue safety belts because it kind of belongs to the car. This car has the Weissach package, and that means you get carbon fiber parts. You also get a titanium roll cage for safety. And also for this car, you have these magnesium wheels that are very delicate, but also super light. And overall, the Weissach package with those parts reduces the weight of the vehicle by approximately 30 kilos. Something that I find quite funny is the emblem on the front of the vehicle. This is not actually an emblem, it's a sticker, and that probably saves another 5 grams. Other things I chose was the air condition, which I think is quite nice, but for a track car, obviously, you could also deselect it. I also have the Bose stereo, which is a 12-speaker system. It's quite okay, 555 watts. Finally, the option of the lift system, because you see the distance from the spoiler to the road is just about 10 centimeters. So this car can lift the front by 5 centimeters activated by a button in the car so that you don't hit the curb. The GT2 RS, of course, is a car that will make people turn their heads. Not just because of the color, but maybe particularly because of this huge rear spoiler. These spoilers are made for the GT2s and for the GT3s. And if they have a spoiler like that, it's one of the faster 911s. If you take a 911 turbo, they don't have a spoiler like this one. It's a much more subtle solution, and that's how you can differentiate them. The turbo engine revs up to 7,200 RPM, which is not a lot. It has a 7-speed electronic GT-specific automatic gearbox, and that gives you very fast, very spontaneous traction upshift and also extremely dynamic downshift troughs. Other special features are the 2 large intercoolers, which give the engine cooled air, and a titanium exhaust system that gives a rather fat sound. And you also have a very mild rear axle steering and of course the PASM, Porsche's active suspension management. Driving the GT2 RS, it's pretty much like driving a normal Porsche 911. I think it's even fair to say that the design in the cabin is fairly bland. It looks like a normal 911 turbo or 4S. But the sound you have, the whole feeling when you drive it, it's much more direct than the other Porsche 911s, of course, because this is trimmed for racing and really fast driving. And of course the other cars are less hard with a different suspension. There's a safety rollover cage in the car. It's made of titanium. It's normally made of steel, but you can option it for the GT2, so you get a titanium cage, which does take a bit of space, but then this car was not made for shopping anyway. The seats are bucket seats. They are very, very comfortable. You can't really adjust them that much in the length and in the height, and that's it. Otherwise they're fixed, but they are so comfortable. Even on a long trip, several hours, they feel fantastic. On a smooth surface like we're driving here, it is like any other 911. It's fairly comfortable. The noise level probably a bit higher than in a 911 turbo, but the car feels pretty okay, pretty comfortable. What this car does really well is on a mountain road, small, narrow, bendy, going uphill where you can push the car. That's it. It is where the car really comes to life. You can unleash all of these 700 horsepower, these 750 newton meters. Even coming out of the bend, you can push the accelerator and all of that power will go straight to the road. I did it several times going up the mountain. There wasn't a split second where I felt the car was losing the grip. That is what the car does so well. In terms of braking, the GT2 RS is extremely capable. It has ceramic brakes in the front, 410mm brakes, and in the rear 390mm brakes. The thing with ceramic brakes is that they don't overheat and they don't really wear, but they brake really well, like incredibly well. But the other thing is that they have a tendency to brake a little bit later than you think, so you have to press the brake pedal a little bit harder and maybe a little bit faster too to have the optimum performance. And in terms of rainy weather, the ceramic brakes are not that good because first they have to remove the rainwater and then the pressure builds up and then the brake comes to its full power. But it is what is fitting for this vehicle because it is built to go to the racetrack. When you go on a mountain drive like today, you use the car. That's the whole idea. You want to drive safely, of course, but sometimes you have that stretch of road where you can accelerate fast, and it is actually fantastic. But in everyday usage, you won't do that, of course. You go 60, 80, 100, 120, whatever, and you can use the 911 in general as a very good daily driver. Now, in terms of the GT2 RS, if that would be good for daily driving, I would say, of course, you could, but it's not built for that. This is a car, you need to warm it up. The car comes with semi-slick tires. They need to be warm, otherwise you don't have the grip. You have the big spoiler, you have the very expensive magnesium wheels, and if you get a curb scratch, you know, you have to replace the wheel. So it's not a car that I would recommend using for daily driving. It's much better for the occasional trip to the mountains or the weekend trip to a nice hotel. That is what the car is built for, and of course, last but not least, the racetrack. I hope you like this short presentation of the GT2 RS. If you want a fast 911 for everyday usage, this is not the car for you. Then I would choose a 911 Turbo or Turbo S, because that blends in with the traffic and is also much more comfortable in everyday usage. The GT2 RS is something very special, and you're not going to see one very often. Porsche is already working on the 5th generation of the GT2 RS, and that is likely to come out in 2026. It's also likely to have more horsepower. This has 700. The next generation will probably have about 850 horsepower, and will also be a hybrid version of it. And that is to compete with the Ferrari 296, and Porsche will try to beat the record on the Nürburgring again. Today that record is held by Mercedes, the AMG 1, with 6 minutes and 29 seconds, and Porsche will want to beat that. Thank you for watching this Mobility Insider special. Please share the video and don't forget to comment and give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and see you in the next one.